Frank, what are we planting today?
You know, last week we called it Herb Week. This week I'm calling it Root Week. We're planting things that grow underground. Carrots, beets, turnips, radishes. They all do well in the fall. They love winter weather. And since our ground doesn't freeze here in the Carolinas, the important part of the plant doesn't freeze either, and they're great things to have in the garden throughout the winter. First thing I want to do is put some carrots in the ground. Now, if you remember, we planted carrots a few weeks ago, and carrots are one of the plants that if you like to have them, don't plant them all at once. Throughout the course of the fall, plant a little bit every 2 or 3 weeks. And then the strategy here is that you will have carrots throughout the fall. You know, in a couple of months, we'll get one batch. A couple of weeks later, you'll get a few more. And if you do this throughout the fall, you'll have carrots all winter long. I'm also planting kohlrabi. Now, this is a weird vegetable. This packet here doesn't have a picture of it, but if you've never seen a kohlrabi, I struggle to call it a root because it's not a root. It has a bulb that grows, but it grows right on top of the soil. And so it's a really weird plant to have in the garden. I love to grow them in the garden. Also, we've got turnips that I'm going to be planting in these rows. If you noticed, I already put a little trench in here. They're about 1/2 to 1/4 of an inch deep. So I'll just sprinkle some of these seeds throughout here, and then as they start to grow, I'll thin them out. Turnips are good. I don't like to eat turnips. They grow fantastically around here, so if you like turnips, these are a great thing to have in the fall, the winter, and in the springtime. Same thing with beets. I love beets. These have funky little seeds. They're kind of, they're not round. They're kind of, sharp shaped. But these go in the ground, and these will grow fairly quickly as well. So I will, same thing, I did a trench about 1/2 an inch deep or so, and I'll put these through the ground, and then in a week or so when they start to grow, I will thin them out. I'm also planting radishes. These grow very quickly. These are going to sprout up in a couple of days. In 4 weeks, we will be picking radishes. In 4 months, we're going to be picking parsnips. I've never grown parsnips before. I may be too late planting these. Planting them now, they're going to be ready in the middle of January. And from what I read, growing them in the Carolinas, once it gets cold and the green part dies because of a frost or a freeze, that's when you dig up the plant. So we're going to grow them, see how big they get before our first freeze.
Frank, thank you. We learn something new every week from you. And if you're like us and you can't get enough of Frank's Gardening Club, we upload all of his segments on our website, WBTW.com. Just open the weather tab and click on Frank's Gardening Club. It's more local coverage you can count on.